My fiancé looked me dead in the eye one night and said, "I'm keeping my apartment after we get married. You know, just in case." I smiled like it didn't bother me and replied, "That's smart of you." The next day, I pulled our offer on the dream house we'd been chasing and instead signed a lease for a bachelor-style loft. Her realtor ended up giving her some surprising news. The morning after, I was sitting across from Marissa, my fiancée, 30 years old, at our favorite little restaurant. I'm 32, by the way. We'd been dating for 4 years, engaged for 8 months, with the wedding 3 months away. That's when she dropped her bombshell. I had literally just put an offer on what we both called the dream house, the one she'd been pinning photos of on Pinterest for a year straight. She swirled her wine glass and said, "So, I've been thinking about living arrangements once we're married." I jumped in, excited. "Yeah." The seller countered our offer, "But if we bump it up 50 grand, the place is ours." She took a slow breath and said, "That's great, but I've decided to hold on to my apartment." I froze, mid-bite. "Oh, like rent it out as an investment property?" She shook her head. "No, not to rent out, just to keep for me." I blinked. "I'm not following." She leaned forward, like she was teaching me something obvious. "Look, you know the stats. A lot of marriages don't last. I'm just being realistic. I'll keep paying for my apartment, just in case this doesn't work out. It's practical." I put my fork down and repeated, "Just in case. Don't take it personally," she said quickly. "It's like insurance. You have car insurance, but you're not planning to crash, right?" "Right, makes sense," I said slowly, nodding. "Smart thinking." She smiled, relieved. "I knew you'd understand. So you'll call the realtor tomorrow about raising our offer?" "Of course," I told her. And I did call the realtor the next morning, just not with the news Marissa had in mind. Update 1. The next morning I pulled our offer. The realtor, Felicity, sounded baffled. "But you were so close. Another 15,000 and the sellers would have signed today." "Plans changed," I told her. "Thank you for all your help." "Wait, did something come up with the inspection?" she asked. "Nope, just reevaluating my options." After that, I rang up Damien, an old college buddy who runs properties. "Hey, you still got that loft open? The one with the office space the bachelor set up?" "Yeah," he said, confused. "But weren't you buying a house with Marissa?" "Change of plans. Can I swing by today?" The place was perfect. Sleek, modern, walking distance from work. 1 bedroom, 1 office, absolutely not meant for a married couple. I signed a 2-year lease on the spot. Later that evening, Marissa called me during her lunch break. "Hey, did you talk to Felicity about the counteroffer?" "Yeah, I did." "And?" she asked eagerly. "Are we getting the house?" "Actually, I pulled the offer." Silence. Then she burst out, "You what? Why on earth would you do that?" "Well, I started thinking about what you said about being practical, smart planning. So, I signed a lease for a 1-bedroom loft instead." "A 1-bedroom? What about me?" I kept my voice calm. "You're keeping your apartment, remember? Just in case. This place is perfect for me." "That's not." "No. I mean, where am I supposed to live after the wedding?" "In your apartment. The one you decided to keep." "Lucas, that's ridiculous. The apartment is backup. We're supposed to live together." "Oh, I must have misunderstood. When you said you were keeping your place just in case, I assumed that meant you'd actually be staying there. My mistake." She hung up. 20 minutes later, she showed up at my door, hair frazzled, still in her work clothes. "We need to talk about this misunderstanding," she snapped, pushing her way inside. "What misunderstanding?" I asked. "This." She waved her arms around. "The loft, the house, this whole petty stunt." "I'm not being petty," I said evenly. "I'm being practical. You're the one who reminded me of the divorce statistics, so now I'm protecting myself too." "That's not the same thing. I keep my place as a backup, but we're supposed to build a life together in our house." "So, you'd have an empty apartment sitting there while I foot the whole mortgage? That doesn't sound fair." Her mouth opened and closed like a fish. "Well, I mean, the mortgage would be both of ours." "Would it? Because you'd still be paying rent for your apartment. Unless you were planning on me covering the house entirely while you keep your safety net." The way she went quiet told me I'd hit the nail on the head. Update 2. The next 3 weeks were a roller coaster. Marissa went through every stage of damage control. First came her spin campaign. She told everyone I had cold feet and was making reckless choices. Her mom, Eleanor, called me up. Lucas, sweetheart, what's this I hear about a bachelor pad? It's a one-bedroom loft, Eleanor. Very practical. But what about the wedding? Where will you two live? Marissa is keeping her apartment. She made that crystal clear. I'm sure she didn't mean it like that. She literally told me, just in case things don't work out. I'm just matching her practicality. Eleanor huffed. This has to be some silly misunderstanding. Can't you just go ahead and buy the house? Why would I buy a house for someone who's already bracing for a divorce? She didn't have a response to that. Then came the bargaining stage. Marissa showed up at my place armed with spreadsheets. Spreadsheets. She flipped open her laptop on my kitchen counter. Okay, hear me out. I've crunched the numbers. If we split the mortgage 60/40, I can still afford to keep my apartment. See? Everyone wins. So, I'd be covering 60% of the house while you hold onto your backup apartment? It's only 60 because I'd be paying rent too. Totally fair, she argued. I glanced at her calculations. She even had a line item labeled Marissa's Security Fund. Basically me subsidizing her safety net. Here's my counteroffer, I said. We both keep our separate places. After a year of marriage, if things look solid, we start house hunting together. A year? Newlyweds don't live apart like roommates. We're supposed to be in a gorgeous house together. Then give up the apartment. I can't. What if something happens? Then I guess we've already got our answer. She snapped her laptop shut and stormed out. Not long after, her friends tried to stage an intervention. Simone, Tessa, and Carmen cornered me at the gym by the water fountain. Simone crossed her arms and said, "We need to talk." About what? I asked. You're wrecking Marissa's life over nothing. Tessa jumped in. She's just being smart. And so am I replied. No, you're being vindictive, Carmen shot back. She cries every night. The wedding venue is booked. Deposits are already paid. Just buy the house and move forward. Why doesn't she give up her apartment then? I countered. The three of them glanced at each other, scrambling for an answer. Because that's different, one of them finally said. Women need security, and men don't. I asked flatly. You make more money, Simone accused. Exactly, which is why she thinks I should cover most of the mortgage while she hangs on to her escape hatch. They didn't have a comeback for that one either. Update 3. 2 months before the wedding, things hit another level. Marissa had been telling everyone we were working through things, and that the house deal was still in progress. She even kept our realtor, Felicity, on standby like nothing had changed. Then I posted a photo of my loft on Instagram, just a simple shot with the caption, "Loving my new place, perfect for the bachelor life." My phone blew up within minutes. The first call came from Jordan, one of my groomsmen. Bro, what's this about bachelor life? The wedding's in 8 weeks. Yeah, about that, I said. Not even an hour later, Marissa was banging on my door again, this time with backup. She had her mom, Eleanor, and her sister, Lila, in tow. The second I opened the door, Marissa exploded. How dare you? Bachelor life? Are you calling off the wedding? I haven't called off anything, I said calmly. I just posted the truth about where I'm living. Eleanor jumped in with the soft approach. Lucas, be reasonable. Marissa only made one small request, keeping her apartment like a bit of insurance. I cut her off. She literally called it divorce insurance. That's not what I meant, Marissa shouted, on the verge of tears. Then what did you mean? I asked. I wanted security, she cried. From my future husband. Got it, I said flatly. That's when Lila stepped forward. This is financial abuse. You're controlling her with money. I stared at her. How? By not buying a house for someone who's already planning our breakup? By refusing to share resources, Lila said sharply. She can keep her apartment. I'll keep my loft. That's as fair as it gets, I replied. That's not a marriage, Marissa shouted. Married couples live together. Then give up the apartment, I said. I can't. You don't understand. What if you leave me? What if you cheat? She cried. And what if you leave? What if you cheat? Your plan only protects you, not us. She actually stomped her foot like a kid throwing a tantrum. That's different. I'm the one taking all the risk by getting married. Really? Explain to me how you're taking more risk than I am. I'm giving up my independence, my freedom, your backup plan. I finished for her. Exactly. That's the problem. After more shouting, they stormed out. But the real twist came the next day. Felicity, the realtor, called me laughing. Lucas, you're not going to believe this. Marissa just rang me up asking if the house was still available. Is it? I asked. Nope, it sold last week. But get this. She wanted to buy it herself. Said you two were restructuring finances, and she wanted the dream house without you. You're kidding. I wish I was. She even asked if I knew any first-time buyer programs with low down payments. When I told her she'd need 20% cash for a house that size, she asked if she could use the deposit you had already put down. Wait, we're not even married. That's exactly what I told her. She hung up on me. Update 4. 1 month before the wedding, Marissa went full nuclear. First, she tried to force my hand by mailing out updated wedding invitations. The new ones listed our new home address, the very house I'd backed out of, the one already sold to someone else. My mom was the first to call. Lucas, honey, this address? I thought you said you rented a loft. I did. Marissa's just being optimistic. Optimistic? The wedding is 4 weeks away. I know, Mom. Do you? Because I have 150 people asking me about this house. Soon, the calls were nonstop. Family, friends, coworkers. Everyone wanted to know about the beautiful new home Marissa had bragged about. She'd even built a wedding website with the listing photos, describing how we'd start our life together there. I texted her, "You need to tell people the truth about the house." Her reply came back quick. "Buy it and it will be the truth. It's already sold. Then buy another one. Any house. I don't care anymore. With what money? You're hoarding all your savings for your apartment. Use your savings. The ones paying for my loft and, my life? Pass." That night, she showed up with a stack of papers. "I found the solution," she announced proudly. It was a loan application for another house. Smaller place, worse neighborhood. And the kicker? She had already listed me as the primary borrower without even telling me. "You applied for a mortgage in my name?" I asked. "It's perfect," she said. "The payments are lower than the other house. You can afford it by yourself." Marissa, this is fraud. It's not fraud, we're getting married. What's yours is mine. We're not married yet, and you're still keeping a separate apartment. How does it make sense that what's mine is yours, but what's yours isn't mine? "Stop twisting things," she snapped. "Just sign the papers." "No." "Then I'll, she stammered. "You'll what?" I asked. "I'll tell everyone you're abusive, that you're trying to make me homeless." "You've already got your own apartment," I said flatly. "That's not the point." "That's exactly the point." She snatched up the papers, stormed toward the door, and fired off one last shot. "If you don't fix this, the wedding's off." "Okay," I said calmly. She froze. "Okay. Yeah. If the only way you'll marry me is if I buy you a house while you keep your own place, then we shouldn't be getting married at all." Her face twisted. You can't just call my bluff like that." "I just did." Final update. 2 weeks before the big day, the wedding was officially canceled. Marissa tried spinning it as a mutual decision, but the truth leaked out when her sister Lila got drunk and posted on Facebook. "My sister deserves better than a man who won't even buy her a house. Lucas is trash. She only wanted to keep her apartment for safety, and he blew it up into this whole thing. Now she's stuck in her tiny apartment while he plays bachelor. Men are garbage." The comments section was eye-opening. Turns out, several of Marissa's friends already knew about her little plan. Simone chimed in, "Girl, I told you to wait until after the wedding to tell him about keeping the apartment." Tessa added, "Should have just bought the house first, then mentioned it later." And my personal favorite, from Carmen, "This is why you don't date men who think they deserve equality." That's when the mask fully slipped. But Marissa wasn't finished. She tried one last Hail Mary. She showed up at my loft with her dad, Vincent, a no-nonsense contractor who worked hard his whole life and clearly expected me to man up. "Lucas," he said, trying to look intimidating, "this has gone far enough. My little girl is heartbroken. I'm sorry to hear that, I told him. You're going to fix this, he barked. You're going to buy a house, marry my daughter, and stop this nonsense about her apartment. No, I said simply. I'm not. His face turned red. Excuse me? Your daughter wants me to buy her a house while she keeps a backup apartment. That's not a partnership. That's called being smart, he snapped. You should be proud she's protecting herself. You know the world we live in. Yeah, I said, which is exactly why I'm protecting myself too. Marissa, who'd been quiet until then, suddenly burst into tears. I just wanted security. Is that so wrong? No, I said gently. Wanting security isn't wrong. But expecting me to bankroll everything while you keep your exit plan, that's wrong. Vincent stepped closer, puffing up his chest. Now listen here. No, you listen. I cut him off. Your daughter's been with me for 4 years. She knows I'm not abusive, not a cheater, not a deadbeat. Yet she still feels the need to prepare for divorce before we're even married. What does that tell you? It tells me she's smart, he said firmly. It tells me she doesn't actually want to marry me. She wants to marry my wallet while keeping one foot out the door. How dare you? Vincent growled. I dare because it's the truth, I said. And deep down, you both know it. Marissa's tears suddenly stopped, almost like she'd flipped a switch. Fine, she snapped. You want the truth? Yes. I wanted security. Yes, I wanted to make sure I'd be okay if things went wrong, because that's what smart women do. And smart men? I asked. They don't build a future with someone already halfway out. They save their commitment for a real partner. 2 weeks later, on what would have been our wedding day, I got a string of bitter texts from Marissa. The apartment's too expensive on just my salary. I had to give up my car lease. My dad won't help because he says I should have married you. This is all your fault. I hope you're happy in that stupid loft. I was actually very happy. The loft suited me perfectly. And by then, I'd started seeing someone new, Monica, a woman from my cycling group. When I told her the whole story, she laughed and said, So she expected you to buy a house while she kept an escape apartment? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Refreshing, to say the least. As for Marissa, last I heard, she had to get a roommate just to afford her so-called security apartment. The roommate's boyfriend is basically living there too, so she's got less space than before. She tells people I financially abandoned her, conveniently skipping the part where she insisted on separate residences. Even Simone reached out to me last month, fishing for information. Marissa misses you, she said. She realizes now that keeping the apartment was silly. It wasn't silly, I told her. It was revealing. She wanted safety and now she has it, her apartment all to herself. The one she swore she needed, just in case. You're such an ass for not buying her a house, Simone snapped. She just wanted security. Then she blocked me. The moral? When someone shows you who they really are, believe them. Marissa showed me she wasn't looking for a partnership. She was looking for insurance. She wanted all the perks of marriage while hedging her bets. She called it being practical. I call it showing her true colors. Now she's crammed in an apartment with a roommate and their boyfriend, while I'm living peacefully in my loft. Funny how things work out. She got to keep her apartment just in case, and I got to keep my common sense. The only thing she lost was the man willing to commit while she was busy keeping her exit plan. Smart thinking, indeed.